Ooh, that is a systematic, methodical, process-oriented crack. Cheers, Paige.
That was a lot of words.
For a one-can crack? Yeah, it
For
was.
one can crack?
I gotta be honest, I was trying to remember, I'm like, what does Nick Saban say again in my brain? I was kind of lost. I was sort of killing time. So,
Okay.
Good to see you. Welcome in. No puns allowed. Man, we got a lot of stuff going on, buddy. But also, I got mail. Now, I have to remember that if you're not watching this on YouTube, you can't see that I'm holding up a box right now.
And it says municipal on it.
Yeah, it's a nice box. Like, this showed up. I gotta say, I think my wife's a little jealous that Municipal is sending me stuff. So I'm opening the box. I'm a little nervous. I don't have scissors. Oh, my headphones are stuck.
You also spilled water on yourself before this started. I just want everyone to know.
My socks are soaking wet. See?
Wow, that was very Midwest of you. Soaking wet.
See, and I'm an East Coast guy at heart, but like Big Ten teams. So, Municipal, who our pod sponsor, has been sending us stuff. Now, I'm not going to go through everything because that would be really obnoxious. However, Paige, this color right here, I think would be very nice on me. We have a green with some red-orange writing here, and the color is Escape and Hot Coral. And this is actually for my wife. This is the women's version.
Yeah, I have that.
I'm a little jealous because I would absolutely wear this color.
You were like I would rock this color.
No, I'm like, this is fun.
Which is so funny. By the way, this is Adam's first unboxing, and he's just very, very excited.
Poorly.
You guys,
it's so bad.
You should see his face right now. Please go to whatever you're listening on and go to the YouTube and watch his face right now.
This is for me.
It's for you. Okay.
This is for me.
Color also bring out your eyes, I'm sure.
Color is blush. Okay? And this is the sport utility. Golf. This is the jam. This is my jam. You know me. This is what I wear. And finally, hold on. I want to get to... There's a lot in here, Paige. I'm a little lost. I'm a little frazzled. Ooh! Okay, so these we asked for these specifically. Jungle Camo. This is like the multi-short, like where you could wear it. You could play golf. You could drink beer in it. And I'm telling you, I've done both, and they're very comfortable. I think I can pull the camo off. In fact, I am going to be able to pull the camo off. So,
okay.
There's my unboxing. My feet are soaking wet from spilling water.
So if you guys would like to match Kramer, you can go to municipal.com and use NoPunts20 for 20% off. We appreciate them decking us out because it is actually really great quality clothing. I'm awaiting my second package, so I will be rocking some of that stuff next week. And we'll definitely post about my thoughts on that and get a better view.
I also want to shout out, we'll get to it at the end, but our game day upset, which is catching fire on social media, where you can win municipal gear. Utopia is the user. Picked Charlotte last week as like a 20-point dog to win outright over Georgia State. 20-pointer. Like that was, we had some good ones yesterday, but 20-point dog to win outright is a winner. I was very impressive. Deserves a pod shout. And we will, again, we'll talk a little bit later. But now I suppose we should talk about football things.
Yeah, we can do that.
How's the energy level for you? We're week 4?
Mm-hmm.
So, which is technically week 5, kind of. Where are we at? Like,
vibe check. Yeah, I would say, this year has been incredibly entertaining already. We have a lot going on off the field that I think is very interesting and enticing. But like you and I do a live stream in the Bleacher Report app reacting to the AP poll. And I feel like a week ago it was complete and utter chaos because we obviously had some top 10 teams, lose games and things like that. And then this week we were like, oh, there's probably not going to be that much movement, but there was a decent amount. And it just reminded me how interesting the ranking process is and how people view wins and losses and week by week and all of that, that there's always a conversation going on in terms of with college football, there's never a dull moment. During the NFL season or during the NBA season, you get a sense of who's really going to be good. And we know the people that are going to be really good in college football. But there's always moments where we get a lot of almosts. And this past week was a week of almosts. And that by far was the most entertaining part, was that there were a lot of teams that looked a little rough but didn't lose. That I'm interested to see how the rest of the season goes for them.
Yes, to your point, like there's a lot of news happening and then there's a lot of stuff happening on the field. And so like the future is short and it's fine. Like I actually don't mind it. Like it's not getting in the way of the games because the games have been really good. Like it has been a really fun start to the year, largely. You mentioned the AP show we do, which many people are watching. I'm just saying, it's not even a humble brag. That's just being obnoxious. But like last week, the week prior, like, oh my God, all these teams lost. Like this is crazy. Yeah. And then it was like, well, Oklahoma State moved down one. Let's say it all. Like it's harder. It was hard to do. But I still feel like right now, I know very little about most of the teams in college football. And I love that, by the way. That's not I'm watching a shit ton of it. I know you are. Like, I love the fact that we say Georgia, really good. Yeah. Alabama, we think is good. Ohio State, very good. Then what? Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, it's also strange because, like, you can have a team that looks ridiculous one week and then the next week looks like trash. And I feel like that's the nature of college football. But I feel like it's happened more often this year than not, where you're like, okay, you buy in. And I can tell you that my gambling picks reflected me picking teams that I thought looked good in one week and looked like shit the next week. But we will get to that point. Something that, like, I really wasn't sure we were going to get to discuss on this podcast enough so that I could use my bias to bring better content to the pod.
Yeah.
ASU fired their head coach, Herm Edwards. So, I'm going to let you start with thoughts on
First off,
this.
Did you see the shot of Herm at the gate of the airport?
No. I saw him on the field where they came up to him on the field, and it looked like...
Yeah, that was strange too. It looked like a guy getting fired literally in front of like the entire world.
Yeah.
There's somebody on Twitter, and maybe it wasn't real because Twitter always ruins everything, but like Herm was standing there with a big ass luxury bag full of things, waiting in line, flying home, regular. Like we would fly. Yeah.
Flying commercial. So, go ahead and give your thoughts on that.
No. So I'm a Jets fan, and Herm has always had kind of a special place in my heart. I enjoy Herm Edwards.
To win.
Yes, he was a character. I don't know how good of a coach he was. What's interesting about this hire, when this was made, it was outrageous. It felt outrageous. And I don't know if you remember, I should find it. Arizona State released like a statement and talked about this being the future of how they're doing it. They're running a college team like a business, like an NFL team, right? From top to bottom. And Herm actually was okay to start. You had Jane Daniels. You had some early success, not overwhelming success, but we were like, oh, maybe this isn't so bad. And then you knew this year. I've been wrong. I was deeply wrong about Nebraska. I was deeply right about Arizona State being one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. So now I don't know, Paige, A, what your thoughts are, and B, where the hell does this job fit in the hierarchy of jobs? Like, we'll find out, like, what other jobs are available. This is a really weird opening. Like, they have some money. It's beautiful. Oh, my God. It's I know you're an Arizona fan, so you can't, like, say this stuff, but I'll say it's a beautiful area. There's a lot of appeal, I think, to this job, but I'm wondering where the hell it fits in, like, the hierarchy of your mind of, like, how much interest there will be in this.
Yeah, I feel like if the Cardinals game outcome this weekend was a little different, we'd be talking about how Cliff Kingsbury wouldn't have to sell his house in Scottsdale to do this job. True. But I think the other part of this is that they are going to be in trouble because they did run it like a business and it's not. So there's still parts of college football that are behind. They're being investigated by the NCAA, and there are going to be repercussions for that. I just want to mention this as not only the first time that this has happened to them, there's been some instances in the past.
For God's sake.
But I digress. I will say, though, that I don't think it's going to be a terrible, I don't think they're going to have a hard time finding somebody to do this job because there is a lot of appeal there. I think largely that's going to depend on what happens next with the Pac-12 in general. So I think they should definitely take their time and maybe just chalk this year up to whatever and wait a little bit longer and see who becomes available because lots of people are going to become available that are getting fired in a couple weeks. Some I'm surprised haven't already. But
Yes.
It just is interesting to me, like you said, that when they did this, they thought they were turning college football on their head and being like, okay, look, we're going to do it differently and this is the future of the game. But I think they got a little ahead of themselves and caused more problems. I don't think you can run a college football program like you run an NFL team. Those are grown-ass men being paid to be there. College is completely different in the aspect. Yes, they're adults. And now they're getting paid for stuff, but they're not being paid to be there. Not all of them. Some of them probably are, but they're not being paid for play. This isn't their
No.
job. Their job is also school. There's other things going on in their life and priorities, and this isn't their profession forever. So some of them have other focus. It's different than being on an NFL team where you're playing for your livelihood and you're saying yes sir and just going along with it. These are still kids, unfortunately. By society, adults, but still kids at heart.
I love that, like, when I love reading about, like, could consider for this job, because the range is huge, and it's every goddamn job is going to be like Urban Meyer and Brian Harsin. Like, it's like this list. Yeah. You want hilarious names? Here's what you're going to see. And I'm with you, by the way. I wrote about this on Saturday night because I think it's really interesting. Like, we're firing people a lot quicker and a lot easier than we ever did. I'm surprised Colorado didn't fire their football coach. I'm a little surprised Auburn didn't fire their football coach. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I think there's going to be more of these. Colorado released a statement basically like, we'd prefer not to pay that money. Please cheer on our fans. Like, go Buffs. I get it. It's expensive. Like, the market is becoming a bit unstable. And I think that part's really interesting. But yes, Arizona State is on the market right now. I'm curious to see what they get, because I do think you'll have a wide range of candidates and experience. Bill O'Brien, by the way, is going to be leaked to every job, including this one.
Alabama fans are gladly willing to give him to your program, sadly. But to your point, I guess we talk a lot about how, like, there's a ton of money in these TV deals and in college football, and there's a lot of coaches and programs there's coaches being paid $17 million. Shout out Ed Ogeron, who is just at a different place and being a different fan every week in college football, but that are being paid not to coach. And I think we might see it stabilize in the sense of, like, I wonder if Auburn does anything. Like, I understand that there are people that are willing to pay that tab, but maybe, like, there is a little bit more patience coming in the college football coaching circle. We've seen it, like, happen really quickly this year, but I wonder if because of that, there's a little bit of, like, okay, maybe we don't do this and do what we've always done, which is, like, pay this guy not to be here, try and get a big splash or whatever, and change up our strategy, hire a third party to evaluate and all of those things, the same old song and dance, and maybe take a pause and say, okay, let this person have some time. Because again, like we've talked about, like, there are coaches that did turn it around. Like Norvell, we were really not sure what we were going to get with Florida State. We did not know. It was bad. So, and it sort of has stabilized itself. It's like, maybe we do see some programs take the risk of letting it stabilize a little.
Mel Tucker got $95 million this offseason. Okay. And I like Mel Tucker a lot. So I really don't want to make this sound disparaging, because I think he was a great hire. Look at Colorado now without like that was a great move by Michigan State. Michigan State had to pay him $95 million to keep him. They just lost to Washington, albeit they were a little bit lively, but they were getting blown out. They are an underdog at home to Minnesota this week.
Yeah.
This is a $95 million coach who, by the way, is very good. But $100 million is going to buy you that. That does not seem... That's going to get out of hand. Like, it does not seem like stable. So look at Riley and Brian Kelly, right? You've got 10-year deals. Brian Kelly, like, we know how toxic LSU can get fast. Jimbo Fisher, another one. Like, Jesus Christ, I know they beat Miami, but, like, buddy, there's another 9, 10, 85 fully guaranteed dollars on that contract. So you're tied to these people, and maybe that's what it needs, because at that point, like, we can't pay this guy $80 million. Yeah. So I'm just curious where it goes. I am fascinated by it, because I do think it's just going to reach this point of, like, kind of what's going to happen with NIL. Like, oh, wait, we paid a recruit $8 million and he got hurt, or he didn't play, or he transferred. Like, it's really strange. And with coaches, I think it's just a start, which is why we have 2 coaches through 3-ish weeks already gone, and more likely to come very soon.
Yeah, it's crazy. And to your point about NIL, like, the guys that are going to college right now are getting absolutely paid. which is great, but we are going to see it sort of, shift gears. Let's touch on something. I'm going to skip around in our little doc here, but this nothing burger of a story that became a story.
Know how you feel
how
already?
much it
I don't know what you're going to say.
How much it cost to host Arch Manning and I guess like 8 other recruits during one weekend. I think the bill was like $250K for all these different things. And I just sort of thought it was funny that there was an article written about this and then it was like made into this huge deal. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they spent that much. And I don't know if that was necessarily the sentiment. It was just like, hey, these are actual numbers about stuff we already know was happening like for years now, that this cost them a lot of money to host these things. But I don't know why we care. Like, I don't care that was how much they spent to get him. It worked clearly. And like, it is what it is. But also like, it just is very strange that we're writing articles about how much they're actually spending on it. It's like, do we really care that those are being put towards it? Like, you may have a different opinion on this. I don't know. That's why I'm asking too. It's like, I don't know. I didn't personally care about it, but I just thought it was funny how many people were like, wow, that's so much money in one weekend. It is a lot of money in one weekend, but like, I sort of was kind of like, yeah, I know,
Well, yes, I know. I do. I am mixed on this. I think that it's not a surprise, but that when they spend that much money for this weekend, and what was the shit? I'm trying to look at it was in The Athletic, right? It was actually a really cool premise for a story, because they do it like they basically go through the entire day of like, hey, and here's $30,000 here and $40,000.
Yeah, here's this. Here's what they were doing. They were taking them here. They were doing a Topgolf event. They spent money on this. They spent money on that.
There was an ice sculpture,
to know the details,
right?
for sure.
Okay. Let's see. I'm here. This is from The Athletic. The meal, complete with cocktails, beer, wine, flatware rental. What is that, by the way? Flatware rental? Like you have to rent plates?
Yeah, if they were hosting it somewhere, I would guess. But also, how did they know that detail?
Bartender's fee and an ice sculpture, $29,000. Now, Paige, my wedding did not cost $29,000. Okay,
that's impressive. That is highly impressive.
We did it in Wisconsin. It was smaller. My family's tiny. Caitlin's family is huge. We had like 150 people. I don't think it was 29.
Wedding.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't 29 grand. But we did it at a boathouse in Wisconsin. Amazing. Lake Geneva. Represent. Great beer, too. So, when you read this, and you're like, Arch Manning's ice sculpture dinner cost more than my wedding, I'm not offended, personally. I get it. I still think it makes for a heck of a headline, and it's kind of hilarious. Yeah. Like, I don't think people will be mad at this. I think people can more look at it and be like, holy shit. Like, this is how the sausage is made. I don't know if as many people understand how much it costs to be good at recruiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I was just, like, weirded out by people being, like, shocked by this number. Because I was like, how are you shocked? And I guess maybe it's because I do know a little bit more of the detail of the stuff that goes into this. But, like, I was not surprised in any way. I almost, like, was like, wow, it's kind of cheap. You know what I mean? Like, considering everything they did, seemed reasonably priced, But yeah,
this does not include the off the bill, like,
off the record.
They gave him a Ferrari,
his $100 handshake that he got, the wad of cash he came back to in the hotel room in a gift bag that was, nothing.
And there's a Ferrari that a booster paid for that was not on this. Yeah, like that's the funny part. The people that are shocked by this would be like, my God, we're paying the players now. It's like, oh, buddy, let's have a seat. Like, let's talk. So, like, no, like I just like reading. I think it's hilarious too. But like Texas, good shit, by the way. That's my other takeaways. Texas, like you said, you did all this stuff and it worked. Well done.
So I wanted to make it as lighthearted as possible. So I tweeted that like this was the bar. Like when a guy is like, you're too expensive to any girl, she can be like, look, your college football team paid $250,000 to host a 5-star recruit. Like, I'm a 5-star recruit. Treat me as such. This is the bar. So I thought that was pretty great. Like, view it that way.
It's fine. But I love it. I would like a nice sculpture. Like, let's just keep doing well on these AP poll videos. And
how about this? At our first cold Wisconsin tailgate, because we will eventually get ourselves to a Wisconsin tailgate, I will make sure that we have a no punts allowed ice sculpture. That's the deal I'm making you right now.
I think that would be awesome.
Oh, it could be a shot one. You like pour. And
like a luge? Yeah. That's it.
Okay,
did those things survive
excellent.
COVID? Did luges survive? Like, we still luging in the post-COVID? I mean, I would. I don't care.
Yes. At a college of all the places at a college football tailgate, it's like nothing happened. It's like the
drinking fountains. If you're in the drinking fountain business, you're like, shit. I don't think after 8 beers
college
you care.
campuses are alone keeping ice luges alive. So we will definitely have a no punts allowed ice luge at a Wisconsin game soon. Coming to a Wisconsin tailgate for you. But sadly, we do have to talk about something that we knew was coming, but it's kind of sad to hear, is that some rivalries are going to be ending for the foreseeable future due to conference realignment and all of that stuff. So bedlam between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State is supposed to end after what? It's like 100 and something years. This rivalry game will not happen because Oklahoma's moving to the SEC. I'm sad about this. Like, I have no stake in this game, but I'm like really sad about this.
This is a big one. This is a big loss. Like, bedlam to me, which is largely a one-sided rivalry historically, if you look at the numbers. Not so much, I guess, last year and recent years, but like, we could talk about the good things that college football is doing, and then you lose some of the soul along the way. And I did, here's the quote, by the way, Mike Gundy, I saw this from our guy's sources, Brett McBurphy today, said, "Bedlam is history because OU chose to follow Texas and money to SEC. What's going on now is like a husband and wife when you know you're dead wrong and try to make them think they're wrong. Oklahoma State has no part in this. It's comical. They want to bring us into it." I don't necessarily, Mike Gundy says a lot of things. This hurts his business too. It hurts his brand that you can't play this game. This sucks. I think you just said, like, I get it. I understand why this is the case. I still don't get, though, if you're these schools, why you wouldn't want to try to find a way. This is Texas A&M too, right? Like, well, which now maybe you're going to lose one, you're going to get the other potentially. So I hate it. I hate this part of it. Like, there's no defending it. I like the playoff. I get realignment. I get why Oklahoma's moving. This part still is really bad for the sport. Yeah.
I think the other part of this is, like, TV deals are being set up in a way that's so different. And that's a huge part of this conversation, is that, like, okay, it's like whose conference gets that money for that viewership, because it is a rivalry and it is a big ticket item. And I think that's where the problem really lies. So, it's going to be interesting. And to that point, we heard this week that Amazon is likely going to get involved in the college football realm. They've obviously taken over Thursday Night Football. I don't know if you saw the tweet about how Bezos said it was like their best sign up day for Amazon in history. I should probably have checked that a little bit better before I said that out loud.
Why would he say anything wrong?
No. But yeah, it obviously played off really well for them to take over Thursday Night Football, but they are going to get in the game for college football rights, which I find super fascinating, because I think we've talked about TV deals ad nauseum really on this podcast. But it's exciting for the Pac-12 to be named in this, because I do think streaming is the way that things are going. So I feel like it's going to be a positive. I know for a fact that more people have Amazon Prime than they do have access to Pac-12 Network on non-direct TV places. So I feel like it's a positive for college football, but it's also, like, again, a very scary thing that we're putting a lot of rivalries at risk, because in, like, what makes college football so pure, because of these kind of large moves in the way that the sport is going. But we knew that was a part of it, but it still doesn't make it hurt less, you know?
Amazon NFL stuff has been great. I mean, Herb Street and Al Michaels, like, I mean, Jesus, like, all of their, like, it's a professional product. So, like, you're going to inject a lot of money and a lot of resources into making it good. And it has been good. So this is a no-brainer. But, like, again, like, the cause and effect is, like, very much on display with something like this. Like, that's the part that, for me, you just don't know, like, what the impact is. But I am also curious, Paige. Like I was thinking about this and finding how to stream these games. There have to be people. I'm the old person on this podcast, right? But I can find Amazon where to watch an Amazon football game. Like my dad or someone out there that is in their mid to late 50s is like, what? What do you mean the game's on Amazon? That's where I get my shaving cream from. Like I want to be in the thousands upon thousands of households that are trying to figure out where the hell to watch a football game.
No, it actually happened in my household. My stepdad was like, "Where's the game?" And my brother thought that it was like possibly on TV too, that they were doing a double like whammy of like, okay, it's here and here, and then we'll move you all over eventually. But no, there is going to be some confusion on that front for sure. But the only thing I will request from Amazon is because now we have like talent, like, you know, you mentioned Herb Street, like we've got talent that's crossing media company platforms. Please, 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 for the love of God, pay Gus Johnson to also do Amazon games for whatever conference. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Is Gus Johnson okay?
Yeah, I think he was just sick. I thought he just had. Was it more? Is he
doing great longer? After illness, ready to go? I had not checked.
Jeez.
You know, I was watching that game on mute, like in my basement, and because he's the best. So when you hear Gus can't go, you're like, oh shit, like what, like. And by the way, Joel Klatt, that is a tough, assignment to be put into, right?
Yeah.
Like I kudos, but I'm glad our guy Gus is okay. And yes, put Gus. If you're building a streaming service, put Gus in there. Like
put Gus, and then I would say for like secondary purposes and like a more fun group of people, I would suggest the No Puns Allowed podcast host.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I like Joel Klatt, but
actually,
yes.
Do you know anyone at Amazon? Because they're really that's a good idea.
I'm gonna ask around.
Please, sir, if you listen to this podcast, please tweet Amazon and be like, I would really love to see Paige and Adam on that broadcast. If you guys get college football rights, Paige and Adam. So we're gonna put that out there now.
I have a hit AP poll reaction show. Like the only logical next step is Amazon. Major national network football games.
Yes.
Just saying.
I think it makes the most sense.
Okay, so let's talk some football. I like this question. And full disclosure, I don't have my teams yet, but you put on the dock 4 teams that we aren't talking about enough. Now, I really like this. What is the criteria is just like teams you feel like are just like not getting enough love, right? Yeah. Like you're just like right just at this like, point.
Okay, it's not. Let's say it's not Clemson, it's not Alabama, it's not Ohio State. It's the other guys. We call them the other guys.
Can be top 25, can be outside of top 25.
Yeah, we could have done a whole segment on who should be in the top 25. That is not.
Buddy.
Or
don't get me started.
You know, so
Kansas football.
My 4 are, I do have to redeem myself amongst Kansas fans, so I'm going to go with Kansas football for obvious reasons. Okay. The next team that I'm going to say is App State should absolutely be ranked. I feel like they should be in the top 25. I know they almost lost, but in terms of like excitement, it's early in the year. It doesn't really matter. So like, just put them in there. That's really where,
I agree.
You know, I think Washington obviously needs to, they're in the top 25, but I think they need a little bit more respect amongst the like Pac-12. I think we obviously know that USC is good, and I think Utah and Oregon got a lot of hype, but it's not like Washington. I've said this before. I have mentioned recently they haven't obviously been in the national conversation, but they are the Pac-12 team that's made the college football playoff. We don't want to talk about their game, but they've been there. So like, why are we not giving them the credit that we're giving, you know, other teams for that situation? You know what I mean?
I agree.
We're giving other people some credit that, you know, we're not giving other teams. And who else? That was 3, right?
Yeah.
Gotta get one more.
I can go ahead.
I'll go Penn State. Because just after watching that performance,
I think that's a really good one.
I just think that, like, again, this is a team that, like, in a conference where, like, they're so focused on Michigan and Ohio State that we're not taking into consideration, you know, teams that, like, have been good in the past and have proved themselves to be in a national conversation, but are not really getting that same love and support as, say, like a Clemson team who maybe doesn't look as good, but it has been involved in the conversation for a long time, like those type of things. So yeah, so mine. Well, let's just recap: Kansas,
Okay.
Kansas,
Should I write
Penn
this
State.
down?
Yeah, we're like typing it out. Kansas.
I'm gonna write on the municipal box here.
Kansas,
Yeah.
Penn State, App State, Washington, and who else? Who else did I say?
Isn't that's 4, right? Did you say 5?
I thought I said 5.
Are we supposed to do 5?
Oh, I guess not.
That's fine. If you said
4.
a 5th one, freebie. It's on my
Freebie,
municipal box.
whoever.
Okay. So Kansas is an interesting one because I have Kansas too.
Yes.
But if you follow, like if you're in college football Twitter, it's like a fucking Kansas deluge of content. But Kansas is rank them. 2 road wins.
Yeah.
Houston, yes. West Virginia, they're number 3 scoring offense, I believe, in football. Like, I absolutely love Kansas. Syracuse is another one. That game against Purdue was batshit. Did you see Purdue kicking off like they're from their own 5-yard line because of like 2 personal fouls on one play? Maybe it wasn't the 5. It was hilarious.
You're like pretty close.
No, it was like legitimately close to it. I think Syracuse has been really good. Their offense is a little maddening to watch, but you talk about teams that are kind of, hanging around, and I think that will be. It's a really good story. Like I'm biased because I'm like teams that we should be talking about. Like Syracuse is on the cusp of getting ranked. I don't know how many AP poll votes they got. As a resident AP poll expert, I should probably check that out. But I think Syracuse is a really good story. Oregon State.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. This week, we'll talk about it and pick some pints. That point spread versus USC, it's down to 6. This is a really fun team. They've been like a team we haven't talked about enough for like 2.5 years. Like they're a team that's fun, that's tough. Like I think Oregon State is a problem, and wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like I think there's going to be some opinions on that. And then I don't know, like Tulane. I'm going to go Tulane. You beat Kansas State. You're 3-0. That's a huge win. Kind of derailed a column I was going to write. Not happy about that. But whatever. We'll get back to that. Tulane's a team that's 3-0, and you just got a win over Kansas State, who I actually think is pretty good. Like you held Deuce Vaughn in check. You're not a bad team. The only other one I would say is Florida State too. I'm going to go a 5th team. We don't know if you actually said a 15 or not.
Yeah, we're not sure. We can't remember.
Florida State. You lose like a ton of your key players against Louisville, and you win. We'll see what the injury situation is there. Like Mike Norvell needed to win and win big to cool the Deion Sanders like hiring connections. I think so far, like they've done an awesome job. Like that LSU game was a disaster, but they won. And so there's my 4-5 teams.
Look at that. So this weekend we've got 2 top 25 matchups. We've got Arkansas, Texas A&M, and then we also have Clemson and Wake Forest. Which one of those games are you most looking forward to?
Man. So, okay, I'm going to cheat.
No, but you can't say both.
Well, I'm not looking forward to both. But I am. But let me just explain it, and then I'll make a pick. I'm looking forward to both for different reasons. I mentioned that I don't know a lot about football right now, like these teams. These are show me games. My answer, I think, is going to be Wake and Clemson, though, because there's a lot of moving parts in this game. You have Sam Hartman, who's back. Wake Forest hasn't been great. You have Clemson. You have DJ. Clemson really struggled, Paige, last week in the first half against Louisiana Tech. It was 13-6. Wake is a team of chaos. That offense, a team of chaos. Like, I've wanted to have a betting opinion on this game for like all week. I currently do not have one. I don't know if you do. So I would take Wake, but the same reasoning, I'm saying it's a show me game. Like it's also a show me game for Arkansas and A&M. So I'm curious if you are in my boat or you like the SEC game more. Your team Wake Forest, so I'm assuming you're on my side.
No, I'm actually team SEC. Mostly because I want to know if Arkansas is for real. Like, I want
Yeah.
to see how disruptive they can be against a good team. They struggled last week against Missouri State, and I think the other part of this is that their defense has struggled and lets teams score a lot of points. I think their passing defense is not that great. So I would just say, like, yes, I'm more looking forward to the upset of maybe a Wake over Clemson, because I feel like I really want that to happen. But in terms of like evaluating teams, I feel like this is going to be a good meter check for those two SEC teams, more so than the two ACC teams if I had to pick one. But that also leads me into the next point. Is our next question is most likely to cause chaos this weekend. And now I will go with, I really, really, really want Wake Forest to upset Clemson because I would love that chaos. So maybe it's not necessarily what I think will happen in terms of chaos, but it's what I want to happen. And also, this is a Sam Hartman podcast. I do need to tell Jason that he is a quality football player. I know he tweeted at me that there was maybe another particular reason why we liked him and made him the podcast QB, but no, it's more just because he has a very heartwarming story. So shout out to Jason. We're not talking about Nebraska this week, so we might as well bring him up.
No, we're not going to talk about that. That was not good. So, okay, when you say chaos, I am sorry I'm making things so difficult. But I'm going to be difficult. The team that I think, there's two teams. I'll give you two games. Because when I think of chaos, I think of like internet opinions, right? Ooh, okay. And the two games that I think are going to generate a lot of internet opinions are Texas and Texas Tech and Notre Dame and North Carolina.
Yes.
So now Texas is like a 6.5 point favorite over Texas Tech. Notre Dame, I mean, UNC, I think is a slight fave. Let me check.
A slight fave. Wow. Okay.
A slight fave. Do I sound cool saying that or not at all? Yeah. Like, just betting lingo or something. All right. So North Carolina is a slight favorite.
You're going to start saying bet for, do you know what that means?
Yes.
Okay.
What, bet? No.
Yeah.
What is that?
When someone says bet?
Oh, yeah, kind of. Like, yes, old person here. So those are the games that if Texas loses, and I think they absolutely can lose, that's going to be a big deal. And if Notre Dame loses, and they are an underdog.
They are.
Like, what is the situation? Like, they're not in the top 25. Their season's already kind of in this weird purgatory of, like, not good. But, like, that's the one that I don't think it inflicts chaos on the college football season. I don't know if that game's on this board, quite honestly. Clemson Wake is probably it.
Yeah. No, but that's in terms of like overall season chaos, not like, hey, weekend fun Saturday chaos. So I appreciate that that's your take on this.
Yeah, I think that would be where I go. Because when you look at like the big teams, I don't know. There's not really a lot out there. Kansas State, Oklahoma is historically a great chaotic game. Like Kansas State plays tough.
Yes.
Has their number. I just don't know if that's going to be the case this week, but maybe we'll see. But that's where I would go. Do you think Notre Dame wins? I don't know if that's in your picks and pints. Do you like? I
stayed
North
far
Carolina
away from that game because I bet on Notre Dame, or I bet the UNC App State game, and I'm starting to move away from teams that I've already bet on, like BYU and Oregon. I'm never betting on those teams ever again. For the rest of this season, it just won't happen.
You're gonna be out of teams to bet. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna have like.
Okay, we'll get to Don't get me riled up.
I didn't
Kramer,
mean it that way.
We're going to talk about that little Saturday incident when we get to picks and pints. But our next list preview thing is you like how professional that was?
Yeah.
Is upset pick, which we can do like we do game day upsets. Let's do like betting line upsets, so not like ranking just if they're favored or not. This might make me the most hated person in America, but it will make me the most hated person in Boone, North Carolina. I'm going to go with James Madison.
I kind of like it. This is like a game, by the way, that people are pretty excited about. Total is what, 58.5. App State -7 should have lost last week. Awesome Hail Mary, but should have lost.
Crazy Hail Mary.
That is, oh my God, that was kind of crazy. Now, that's a great pick. Now, mine is in my picks and pints. Do you want me to save it.
Is it just like you're picking? Just don't tell us the points you're picking them to win.
Oh yeah, I'm doing both.
Okay, so who are you picking?
Oregon State.
Oh,
Go Beavs.
Okay. Go Beavs.
I have unsuccessfully bet against USC twice this year. Both times were actually quite horrible. So I would like to say this isn't personal, but it is goddamn personal. And I just think Oregon State is a really good team, got a really good offense. And I'm telling you, Paige, mark my words as I hold the Sharpie here. I really like USC's offense is crazy and fun to watch. Like this team is really fun, but that defense is still a mess. And at some point, it's gonna bite them. But if the offense, maybe not. If the offense continues to play like this, like I'm gonna just keep betting against them and losing horribly.
Hope that it happens.
I'm okay with that. But I think Oregon State is a really that's on the Pac-12 network, by the way. That game, I don't get it. I don't think I get that game. What a load of shit is that?
I can find it. I don't necessarily get it from what I watch, but
oh yes, I'll be watching, but it'll be on like
we will find
11-second delay. Yes,
like right. Twitter will know before you will.
Yeah, yes, it won't be pretty. Like it's not a tweeting game. That's for sure.
But in terms of non-top 25 games, what game are you most looking forward to?
A couple. TCU, SMU is really a fun game. I know SMU lost, but that's a game that I think could be kind of out of hand. And then, what was the other one? Hold on. Wait for it. I'm going to say this, and I mean this truthfully. Arizona Cal. Like, we're talking about Kansas being the most improved team in college football. Arizona is not far behind. I mean that sincerely.
And I didn't even say it. So that's I didn't pay him to say it either.
No.
Crazy.
Arizona can win this game, and then they play Colorado at home. Arizona could be 4-1 entering the Oregon game. Like I'm just, you should be excited as a fan.
Please don't round me up that way.
Don't give me hope.
Don't give me hope. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely gives those vibes. The non-top 25 game, one of them should be ranked, so it could have been a top 25 game, but I'm excited for Duke and Kansas. And I'm not talking about basketball. Like, this is kind of going to be a fun game. Like, it's a fun one to just, be like, hey, these teams are better than they used to be and are not as shit at football as they used to be.
I think Kansas
rolls.
Gonna roll.
Yeah, I don't know that I bet on that game. I did not.
Although I'm blinded by Kansas hype. I am.
You are. So at some point, it's going to come to bite you. Bad. But it will. It won't be maybe this weekend. It may be another weekend. But
it's going to come crashing down. But not this weekend.
Yes, it is time for Picks and Pints. Also, just a reminder: game day upsets. Hashtag game day upset. Send us your pick for the upset based on the spread. Give us a score, and you can win some free municipal gear and a care package sent to you. But Kramer, what pint are you drinking today?
I got this is a rock steady edition. It's the Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing IPA.
That's in my fridge.
I think I've done it on the pod before. It's very accessible. Like, I think a lot of the times I do a lot of local brews that people are like, what the hell? Will never have that. So I like to do some of the national stuff that I like too. So Hazy Little Thing IPA is good to go. Now, as for picks, let's talk about picks.
Let's take a moment.
So,
do you want to explain yourself before I chime in?
Okay. Yes, I will. Well, there's two sides to this story, clearly. I do locks of the week on BR, and I was telling you before we started recording this, I bet money on games. I actually don't have to bet as much money on games as I used to, or as many games, because when I make a pick, I am so emotionally invested to being right, or not, more specifically, not being wrong, that I am carrying a lot. I did not bet. I actually got shut out because I was at a soccer game, my kid's soccer game. So I missed out on Purdue Syracuse, and then I didn't bet live. That was really exciting because I just didn't want to be wrong in locks of the week. So locks of the week last week were 8-2, Paige.
Okay.
That's a good week. 22-10 on the year. Like, it's going to come crashing down horribly.
Right.
But maybe I said something about this to you during all of this. Maybe.
I think what happened is you also see my picks on this show. Obviously, we tweet out our locks and we post about them. But as my friend, as my coworker, I understood why you were so excited about the content that we were producing as being quality content. And you may have forgotten that as your friend, I was also losing a lot of bets that Saturday.
Yes,
and you chose that time to tell me that you had done particularly well. And I was sweating out the end of another atrocious week of betting. And I told you it got to the point where I was blaming my brother for making me take unders instead of overs because the over is part of my personality trait. That's how you know I was down bad. But Kramer is out here texting me being like, Paige, guess what? I'm going 22-10. It's so exciting. And I'm like, I'm going 1-4 this week and I'm losing money. Like, come on, man. The timing was poor, okay? And I tweeted out that I may or may not need a new podcast co-host because I was down bad. And buddy, I know you didn't mean it, but it was the funniest. I was like, Kramer.
It was my editor. Like, I'm like, hey, the content is good. That was the intention.
Yes.
The outcome was more, leave me the fucking alone. And your picks suck. I
will be happy tomorrow when I look at the numbers for our own VR stuff. But for our own personal content on No Punts Allowed, I was very, very upset. So hopefully I can recover. And I'm going to get back to my own. We talked about this before that we started recording. I'm going to get back to me. You know what? Do what makes me me. So I am going to bet an over this week. And you know what? Hopefully we can recover. But like you said, we are a team. And as a team, you have done well. So you're carrying us right now. I'm sure later in the year, I will carry us in other ways.
Absolutely. That's how this stuff goes. It runs in bunches when you're winning. Like, I got a lot of good breaks last week too. Purdue was a really good break. Oregon was just a ass kicking. But there was other good breaks in there. I also picked against USC. So again, bad. This is how this shit goes. There's going to be a week. My fear, Paige, with these picks, by the way, is that I'm going to go like 0-10 one week. And it's going to happen, by the way. Like,
I got absolutely hosed on Ohio State. The over, like, when was the last time that Ohio State scored 70 points?
And they're giving up 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
too.
and yes, to Toledo. I was so mad, you guys.
I couldn't understand when we were talking, like, why you're like, and Toledo scored 21. Like, I didn't understand. I was like, yeah, Toledo's not bad. And then I was like, oh, she had the under. That's bad. That's not good.
And they scored 70 points. Like, never. Ryan Day, maybe we're in his villain era because he's deciding that he's actually going to put up a ton of points and not just keep it at the under, okay? But lesson learned. I like
you getting back to the old you with the over. So what is your over? Let's see.
Let's start there.
Over? Yeah, that's a good way to kick it off.
I am taking the Oklahoma K-State over at 54.
I actually like that a lot. I would like to add that to my not picks and pints, but I'm in on that.
Okay, cool. So as long as I have your support, hopefully I get the positive juju that you've had on this hot streak.
Yeah, that game is weird as shit. If you look at like the overall score, I'd have to look at the year by year, but like they've had some 30-31. Like they're gonna put on points. Now I'm gonna go. This is some sicko shit here. Rutgers, Iowa. So, can I talk real quick about the Iowa game? I can't believe I gotta hijack this.
Yes.
I watched that whole goddamn game at Iowa, Nevada, where the security was gone and they were bringing dogs in the stadium. Yes. I mean, that is chef's kiss. Okay, so Iowa found a running back, like Penn State found a running back. So we are going over 34. Paige, this is one of the most hilarious totals in the history of football. 34. Not since like a Blizzard game. Like, do you get a 34 total? That is like terribly sad. Like, there are totals on the board in the mid-70s this week, I believe. 34. I'm going to watch all of that terrible football game. Go Hogs.
Yeah. I mean, good luck on that. I'm going to stay away from that. I like the overs, but I don't trust Iowa.
Some sick shit.
Period.
I don't blame you.
To do that. What other games do we have that are different?
we are going head to head
in two. This never works out well for me, so I don't know why. To be fair, I put mine in first.
You did.
So
you did.
Basically,
and I'm not doing this to counter you.
I think maybe you were doing this to get ahead. You are doing this on purpose, guys. This might be worse. This might be the last episode of No Punts Allowed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's already on bad terms.
It's already rocky. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
It is not. It actually is the polar opposite of that. So, let's go with our head-to-heads, and then we'll do our non-head-to-heads. So,
all right. You could do the first one. I'll do the second one. So Go ahead. Who do you have first?
So I'm taking Baylor plus 2.5. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you put Iowa State. Wait.
Oh no. I'm taking. Yes. Wait. You have Baylor plus 2.5. Yes. I have Iowa State minus 2.5. Did I screw it up in the doc?
Yes. You put plus 2.5. I was like, wait, they're not both favorites.
Oh man.
But Baylor, maybe in your head, Baylor should have been, or Iowa State.
Yes. Well. You know what?
That's why you thought that Baylor was the favorite, and they're not. Again. So I'm going to go with Baylor. I know they burned me against BYU, but I'm going to take Baylor plus 2.5 versus Iowa State.
So Iowa State's an interesting team. Now, actually, it's kind of funny that you bring up the plus 2.5, minus 2.5. You have a unranked team that is, a favorite. These are all, I don't have any data to support this, so this is reckless gambling advice, but historically this has been pretty kind to me. Washington versus Michigan State last week was an example of that, right? Now, again, Now, I am really, you talk about a game that you want to figure out what this team is. Iowa State is that team. Like, this was a team last year that was supposed to be really good, and this year might be good. Consistent quarterback play, running the ball well. That Iowa game was kind of a travesty, but what else? Whoever Iowa plays is a travesty. They still won. So, okay, the other game, I already mentioned it. Oregon State plus 6.5. And you have USC obviously minus 6. So this is in Corvallis. I am interested by the line movement. This game was at 7, maybe even open 7.5. I have to double check, but I know it was at 7. And as the time we're recording this, there's some Oregon State money. Now, what does that mean? I who knows, right? I bet Stanford, which was a wise guy, play against USC, and that was really shitty. So yes, you are betting USC. I have tried to bet against USC. It's not gone well. This is one that this is a gut check for me.
Yes. So I'm trying to, maybe it's just and now I'm starting to see a pattern. Maybe it's just I like betting against Texas A&M, and maybe Texas A&M fans will thank me because they'll prove me wrong. But I am taking Arkansas plus 2 in that game. And I'm not super confident in this bet, but it's also one that I know, like, if Arkansas is running on all cylinders offensively, that I do think that they have the potential to win that game.
I have no idea what the hell to do with it.
I shouldn't have engaged, but here I am again, trying to.
I'm gonna have an opinion at some point. I think I like Arkansas. I do. I do. I like that A&M defense,
so nervous.
I know. I think I like Arkansas. I
think I want Arkansas to win. So a lot of this is maybe just me trying to will some teams to win.
There's nothing wrong with willing teams to win. I love that move. I'm betting Iowa Rutgers over. Like, Jesus. I have a Thursday night game. So we record this on Wednesday. And so it's a little like it's kind of getting it in a little bit early. Georgia State plus 2 against Coastal Carolina. Georgia State is 0-3. Coastal Carolina's 3-0. The line is only 2. Georgia State played UNC, played them tough. Lost horribly last week to Charlotte. Don't want to talk about it. Played South Carolina in the opener. Georgia State is a good team. They are way better than 3-0, and I think Coastal Carolina is kind of not as good. Not as good as they were a couple years ago. So I like Georgia State here.
I like that. I feel like you're a Georgia State homer. Well, in terms of picks.
A little bit, yes.
A little bit of a homer there. You're starting to see some consistency. But speaking of homers, I'm going to take Arizona plus 3 versus Cal. Go Cats. I sadly will not be at the game, even though it's here in Northern California. But still going to be rooting from afar and hoping for not only a moral victory, but a bank account victory as well.
I'm there. I'm right there with you. My last one is Cincinnati minus 17 versus Windiana. This game was very important last year, right? Like Cincinnati, this was a game that was going to prop Cincinnati to the playoff, and Indiana ended up being bad. They're unbeaten, but Indiana's not good. Not good. Cincinnati's got a new quarterback. I think the fact that this line is 17 is kind of hilarious, is it not? Like that is just a fun point spread. Cincinnati is one of those teams that I think is going to be not playoff worthy. Let's not do that. But I think they're going to be a lot better, and Luke Fickell's probably going to get another raise. So I like Cincinnati to win this one huge.
Well, look at that. Hopefully I have a better week. I am curious, do you have any random shit that you would like to talk about this week?
My feet are wet still.
From spilling your water?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm trying to think. No, I don't have a ton of random shit, other than I finally hit my groove. This is football, so this isn't random, but I asked how I've hit my mid-season groove here.
Okay.
Energy level's good. We're trending well.
That's positive.
I think we're doing all right, energy-wise.
This is how you guys know that we are in full football mode, is because we don't have any random shit that doesn't involve football anymore. Normally, like during the off season, we had plenty of stuff to talk about. I will say we could talk about professional football. Congratulations, Adam Kramer's Jets, and
my Mets making the playoffs. By the way, yes,
congratulations. I didn't forget.
Sorry. Well, my teams suck, Paige. They suck, and
that's fair. I also am very happy for Jimmy Garoppolo. So sad about Trey Lance. Very, very sad that happened, but happy that Jimmy is still on our team.
Football is wild. Football is wild. Like that sucks for Trey Lance because he's gonna be he's fun. Are you NFLing? Like this isn't random shit, but how much NFLing are you doing?
So I'm doing a lot. More than I expected to be. So we talk about this on Sundays where we have that live show, which by the way, you can watch right as the AP poll drops in the BR app. So go to the BR app, watch us. But after we do that show, I go straight to the front room of our house that has a bajillion TVs left over from college football Saturday, and we watch a bunch of games. We've got Red Zone on, all of the things. I've been doing a lot of the chaos games because I think week 1 was just nuts. But normally, we talked about this, sometimes it is hard to watch NFL football on Sundays because you just are so burnt out from a 14-hour day of just absolute chaos and work on Saturdays. But in terms of Niners games, I always try and watch those, obviously because I'm a fan. But I watched the Cardinals-Raiders game, stuff like that.
Oh my God.
I did see that Joe Burrow was taking some hits, and that upset me. I did see a really funny TikTok, and I posted it on mine, about this woman saying that, the Bengals should hire, every woman that has a crush on Joe Burrow because no one would touch him if they were on the offensive line, which I thought was an excellent point. Excellent point. Yes. I personally don't want to be in the trenches, but, I would volunteer maybe.
You will defend your man.
Yes. Exactly. We love Joe Burrow. So... I've been doing a little bit more NFLing than I anticipated, but my baseball team is pretty bad, so I can't say that I've been doing a lot of baseballing.
By the way, our baseball teams play each other here this weekend, so we should have. It's not all right. Do we do a series bet? I get it. It's an unfair bet.
Advantage, yeah.
Yeah. But of course, if you, and this is going to happen now, so it will be. That the A's are going to take 2 out of 3 of the Mets, and they're going to lose the division, and that's going to be sad. Should we could do?
Yeah, I mean, if your team loses the series to my team, you have to do an OOTD TikTok.
What is OOTD?
Outfit of the day in your municipal gear.
Fine, you have to show me how to do it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be chug a beer. No, you go to the core because he likes.
I poured mayonnaise on my head for this podcast.
I know that's a great point.
Okay.
All right.
And I lost by one, by the way, last year in Picks and Pints. I lost by one game, and it was because Adam obviously picked Georgia to beat Alabama. I lost by one game. That's how close that was.
That was close. All right, deal.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, I'm excited this week. Last week we didn't have a lot of I think this week's got some meat to it in general. To wrap things up, I think this week's got some meat. I think there's going to be some movement. I hope there is for our AP poll show. Yes. And like I think,
which by the way, you can watch in the Bleacher Report app on Sunday if you want.
Tell your friends, sign your dog up. Who cares? Watch it and rate and subscribe to this as well.
Yes, we do appreciate you all submitting your game day upsets and supporting Municipal as well. We definitely want you to use that 20% off. No punts 20, municipal.com. Anything else? Any parting shots until you go get new socks?
I'm gonna go get new socks. I'm gonna try on my new gear. I'm gonna go get my wife her new sweatshirt and hopefully pick some more winners. Like it's time. So. For Paige, I'm Adam. We will talk to you guys next week.